Why America is scared of India? What is the reason behind? Let me tell you something important right now. When people hear this question, they think about war stuff right away. They count how many fighter jets each country has, how many weapons, how many soldiers. Sure, that matters. But if you stop there, you miss the real truth. America isn't scared of India just because of weapons. America is scared because India is changing how the whole world works, and America can't control it anymore. See, real fear doesn't come from things you can fight. Real fear comes when someone else starts making the rules while you're still playing the old game. For many years, America was the boss of everything. They decided who won, who lost, who got rich, who stayed poor. When America said do this, countries did it. When they said don't trade with them, countries stopped. When they got angry, the world listened. That was just how things worked. But then India came along, not making noise, not asking for permission, just quietly building something huge while everyone was looking the other way. While people made fun of India's problems, laughed at the traffic, pointed at the poor areas, India was working hard, training smart people, building new companies, teaching millions of kids, making new systems, and now it's 2025, and America looks around and thinks, wait, when did this country become so strong? This didn't happen in one day. This isn't luck. This is what happens when over 1 billion people decide they won't quit. This is what scares America most. India doesn't give up when things get tough. India doesn't change its mind when someone threatens them. America saw what happened when they tried to force India to do things their way, when they wanted India to pick sides in fights, when they expected India to follow orders. India said no, not rudely but firmly, with the power of a huge country behind that no. Now think about it. America has always been comfortable telling others what to do. But what happens when someone else isn't just growing but doing it their own way? That's India. And let me explain exactly why this worries American leaders so much. First, technology and innovation. 20 years ago, if you wanted the best computers, the best research, or the coolest new inventions, you had to go to America. Silicon Valley was the king of everything tech. Today, India is making things that are just as good, sometimes better, and way cheaper. When India sent a rocket to Mars for less money than America spends on one movie, that wasn't just about space. That was India saying, we can do amazing things without wasting money. When Indian companies make apps that billions of people use, when they build payment systems that work better than American ones, America realizes they're not the only smart ones anymore. Second, money and business. Let's talk numbers because numbers don't lie. India is about to become the world's third biggest economy. But here's what really worries America. India is growing fast, and it's full of young people who want to succeed. For years, American companies looked at other countries like customers they could easily control. But India changed that game. India told these companies, you can come here and do business, but you have to play fair with our companies too. You have to actually help our country grow. That's not begging for help. That's making a deal as equals, and America sees their advantage getting smaller every month. Third, military strength. Now, let's be real here. America still spends more money on weapons than anyone else. That's true. But having strong defenses isn't just about how much money you spend. It's about being smart and being ready to protect yourself. India has built missiles that can hit targets far away, submarines that can hide in the ocean, and weapons that make other countries think twice before starting trouble. But more than that, India showed they're willing to fight back when someone crosses the line. When terrorists attacked, India hit back hard and fast. America realized they're dealing with a country that's patient but won't let anyone push them around. Fourth, making friends around the world. Here's where America's old tricks stop working. America used to win by making countries choose sides. You're either with us or against us. But India refuses to play that game. India trades with Russia even when America says don't. India works with Middle East countries when America wants control there. India helps African countries when America ignores them. India builds friendships in Asia without asking America's permission. And here's the crazy part. America needs India's help to deal with China, so they can't push too hard. That flips everything upside down, and that scares them. Now let's talk about culture and influence. You might think culture doesn't scare anyone, but it does because culture is power. Culture is how you get people to like you and listen to you. For decades, American movies ruled the world. American music was everywhere. American ways seemed like the best ways. But now, Indian movies are breaking records everywhere. Indian food is in every city. Indian yoga and meditation are helping people feel better. Indian festivals are being celebrated around the world. People are learning Indian languages, following Indian teachers, buying Indian products, and with that comes soft power, the kind that makes people respect you without force. America isn't the only one telling the world stories anymore. India is writing its own stories, and people are loving them. But here's the biggest reason America is scared. It's about what India represents. America was built on the idea of being first, of forcing your way to the top, of making the rules for everyone else. India represents something totally different. India is built on surviving anything that gets thrown at it, on lasting through centuries of hard times, on getting stronger every time someone tries to break it. That gives India a kind of strength America doesn't understand. It's the strength that says we've been through worse, we've survived worse, and nothing you do will stop us. That's not bragging, that's history talking. That's thousands of years of never giving up talking. When a country has that kind of backbone, you can't scare it, you can't buy it, you can't control it. America looks at India and sees something they never expected, the future. A future where American money doesn't control all trade, where Silicon Valley isn't the only place for tech, where Hollywood isn't the only dream factory, where Washington isn't the only place making big decisions for the world, and that future terrifies them because it means giving up power they've had for decades. Let's be honest here. Fear isn't always about destruction. Sometimes fear is about being replaced. America is scared of being pushed out of first place. And India is the only country big enough, smart enough, and tough enough to actually do it. China might have money, but people don't trust them. Europe might have history, but they don't have the population. Russia might have weapons, but they don't have influence. India has everything: young people, growth, technology, culture, democracy, and the will to never give up. That's why America is afraid. And here's what makes it worse. America still calls India a friend, a partner. But deep down, they know this friendship isn't equal. They know that in 10 or 20 years, India won't need them as much as they need India. And that change, that reality is behind every trade threat, every political pressure, every negative story in the news. Because when fear takes over, you try to slow down what you can't stop. You try to delay what you know is coming, but you can't hold back the tide forever. So why is America afraid of India? Because India represents what they can't control anymore. Because India is building a future where no single country gets to boss everyone else around, where there's balance instead of domination. And balance is dangerous for those who got rich off imbalance. That's the truth. That's the real reason. What truly scares America is knowing that India's rise can't be stopped. It's not a question of maybe anymore, it's a question of when. You see, America has always lived with the comfort of thinking that no matter who tried to grow, no matter which country talked big, no matter how many nations dreamed of being great, the United States would always stay on top of the mountain. For a long time that was true. They had the biggest economy, they had the strongest military, they had the best culture, they had the most influence. But today, when they look across the world and see India, they don't see just another country trying to climb up. They see a country climbing with such determination, such toughness, and such unstoppable energy that the ending isn't in doubt anymore. America isn't asking if India will make it to the top. They're asking how fast it'll happen, how high India will go, and how much American power will shrink when it does. Now, let me tell you something real. Fear isn't just born from weakness. Fear is born from knowing something is definitely going to happen. When you know something is guaranteed, when you know it's coming, whether you like it or not, that's when fear gets into your bones. America knows they can slow India down for a while. They can create trade problems. They can put restrictions. They can spread negative stories. But they also know deep down that none of that will stop what's coming. Because India isn't just running on government plans. It's running on people power, on history, on destiny. Over 1 billion people waking up every morning, building things, creating things, working hard, and refusing to quit. That's not momentum you can buy off. That's not energy you can sanction away. That's not ambition you can bomb. That's progress that can't be stopped. stopped. And let's be clear about this. America isn't scared of every country that grows. They've seen countries rise before. They've seen Germany rebuild after wars. They've seen Japan become rich again. They've watched China grow huge. But what makes India different is that it's doing all this while staying independent, while refusing to follow someone else's playbook. America could accept Japan growing because Japan stayed under American protection. They could accept Germany growing because Europe followed American policies. They even accepted China growing at first because they thought they could make money from it. But India isn't giving America that comfort. India is rising on its own terms, not as someone's little brother, not as a follower, but as a full power with its own vision for the future. That's what truly scares them. Think about it this way. America used to own all the best stuff. Silicon Valley was the crown jewel of technology. Wall Street was where all the money decisions got made. The Pentagon was the symbol of ultimate power. But now they're watching India build its own Silicon Valleys in cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad. They're watching Indian companies succeed on Wall Street. They're watching Indian scientists land rockets on the moon for way less money than NASA spends. That doesn't just challenge America, it embarrasses them. Because if India can do with 1/10 the resources what America does with billions, what happens when India has equal resources? It's not a competition anymore. It's a takeover waiting to happen. And here's another truth America can't say out loud. The fear isn't just about India's economy or India's military or India's technology. The fear is about timing, because America has always been able to comfort itself by saying, yes, they're growing, but it'll take them forever to catch up. That's no longer true. India isn't crawling towards success. It's running. It's jumping ahead by decades at once. In just 25 years, India has gone from being seen as a poor developing country to being the world's fifth largest economy, a space leader, a nuclear power, and a diplomatic heavyweight. That's one generation, just one. What do you think the next generation will bring when most of the country is under 35 years old? That's not climbing anymore. That's launching into the future. And America knows it. Now, let's talk about influence and culture. America has always used influence as their secret weapon. Movies, music, news, money, that's how they controlled what people thought around the world. They told everyone who the good guys were, who the bad guys were, who should lead and who should follow. But now India is rewriting that story. Indian movies are breaking records in cinemas worldwide. Indian culture, yoga, food, festivals, philosophy is spreading everywhere. Indian voices are leading in technology and science in business. Even inside America, the CEOs of the biggest American companies, Google, Microsoft, Adobe, are Indian. So America wakes up every day realizing that their own future is being shaped by Indian minds. That's not just influence anymore. That's destiny staring them right in the face. And when it comes to politics and world affairs, America can't stand the fact that India is playing the game differently. They want India to pick a side, either be with the West or against it. But India refuses to choose because India knows what it's worth. It trades with Russia even when America threatens punishment. It invests in the Middle East when America wants dominance there. It builds friendships with Africa where America pays no attention. It partners with Europe on clean energy while also strengthening defense ties with America itself. That's not following someone else's lead. That's being a leader. And when leadership comes from a country America once dismissed as poor and chaotic, that shakes them deep down. Let's not forget history either. America is used to dealing with countries that break under pressure. You slap them with sanctions, they fold. You threaten military action, they fold. You cut off aid, they fold. But India has been invaded, colonized, robbed for centuries, and yet it survived every single time and came back stronger. If a nation can survive the British Empire, multiple invasions, partition, wars, poverty, and still come out tougher, do you really think American pressure will break it? America knows the answer to that question, and that's why the fear runs so deep, because they aren't facing some weak nation. They're facing a battle-tested civilization that has seen empires come and go, but is still standing strong. Now, here's the part that burns America the most. India's rise isn't loud or boastful. It's not a noisy march to the top. It's quiet, disciplined, patient. America is used to show off power. Aircraft carriers in every ocean, military bases on every continent, big declarations at every meeting. But India doesn't need that show. India shows its strength through calm confidence, knowing that time is on its side. America operates like an empire afraid of losing control. India operates like a civilization that has seen empires rise and fall but still stand strong. That kind of patience makes America nervous because it means India is playing the long game, and the long game always beats short-term dominance. Look at energy markets. America tried to control oil and gas for decades. They wanted to be the middleman, the gatekeeper who decided who got what. But India is breaking that chain by dealing directly with oil producers, by investing heavily in renewable energy, by diversifying where it gets power from. That independence means America's grip is getting weaker. Look at defense. America wants to sell weapons to India, but India is building its own missiles, its own fighter jets, its own tanks. That's self-reliance in action. Look at money and currency. America wants the dollar to rule forever, but India is making deals in rupees with countries across Asia, Africa, and even Latin America. That's the slow erosion of America.